What up and welcome to Something by Brian. I'm Brian and I didn't see the new Bond yet. But congratulations to Craig and crew to finally finding some time to die. I hear good things and will probably see it eventually. I've only seen Skyfall from the Craig era, not really a Bond guy. But to stay topical and such so I can cruise along that sweet YouTube algorithm, I'm here to tell you about the superior Daniel Craig sleuth. Back in 2019, when the world was still working and life was simple and beautiful, Rian Johnson created nothing less than a masterpiece. He managed to make the best whodunit movie with a spectacular story, colorful cast and characters, absolutely stellar cinematography, score and overall production design, while somehow still mocking the entire genre. I know that some people think Rian Johnson's sometimes excessive need to deconstruct or disrupt the genre and confines of his projects can be tiresome or forced. I must stress though, I'm not one of those people. However, in this movie, even the doubters must admit it works absolutely perfectly. I'm not going to go into the story much since it doesn't take much to spoil a movie of this nature, but the core premise is the patriarch of a wealthy family has apparently committed suicide. However, an anonymous source has called for the master detective Benoit Blanc to prove that it is in fact a murder that has occurred. Ooh. First, let me talk about the cast in this massive ensemble, and where else to start but with James Bond himself. Daniel Craig delivers a performance out of this world in this movie. His portrayal of Benoit Blanc, the southern gentleman with the most pretentious name ever, is hands down my favorite performance of an original character in ages. The southern drawl combined with his interesting vocabulary results in an all-consuming and overshadowing presence that you just cannot help yourself from being fully engulfed by. Daniel Craig memorized the entire script as if it was a play rather than a movie, and in multiple scenes you can just feel it. Feel the control he has over the plot, the other characters, and not at least himself. How he wasn't nominated for more awards for this performance is beyond me, and I'm eagerly looking forward to whatever adventure is next for Benoit Blanc. Which in itself is a bittersweet sentiment, because Daniel Craig is not the only heavy hitter in this piece, giving his absolute all to make these caricatures into believable human beings. Toni Collette, Chris Evans, Michael Shannon and Jamie Lee Curtis is hilarious to watch in this. Whenever Michael Shannon is in the background, I implore you to pay attention to whatever he says. Comedic gold every time. Also, Ana de Armas has to be highlighted as a beacon of talent. She perfectly encapsulates the ambiguous relationship between employer and employee, and in extension of that, the us versus them theme this movie heavily examines. I'm not sure if people think this movie is too politically charged. I bet some will cross their arms and heavily exhale whenever the alt-right troll or the social justice warrior discuss anything. But I think Rian Johnson manages to find a sweet spot in which he can stay somewhat neutral and point fingers and make fun of both sides of the arguments, and overall how everybody is just too uninformed to even be taken seriously. Lakeith Stanfield and Noah Segan's chemistry as the two policemen trying to assist Benoit Blanc is wonderful. Lakeith's skepticism paired with Noah's wide-eyed fangirling is a joy to watch and results in many of the laughs this movie produces. So yeah, even though I'm intrigued to see where Benoit Blanc is off to, the beautifully written supporting cast of this film will be thoroughly missed. The cast and characters isn't the only thing this movie gets completely correct. The production design of this piece is beyond most things I've ever seen. Every room in the Trombley house is meticulously crafted, with every single prop being placed perfectly to further the mystery or the plot. It's a beautiful film to watch, and you can pause it at almost any time and spend hours examining the wealth of this world being created right in front of us. Not only the set has been poured over with details and love, the score is so fun to listen to. It pokes fun of the classic Agatha Christie-esque scores we're used to from Hercule Poirot movies and such, whilst simultaneously being a typical and enticing whodunit score. Also, even though you probably wouldn't guess that this movie has tons of CGI and post-production, the fact of the matter is that this movie was shot entirely digitally, so whatever imperfections would occur when a movie is shot traditionally, light blooming over the borders of the light source, slight flickering and such, and so much more, have been crafted for every shot to give it that deliciously crisp feeling that we know from classic mystery movies. The love that went into this project from all involved is so apparent, it almost feels like a hug for your soul watching it. This movie deserves the highest of praise, and most definitely it deserves a watch if you haven't and a rewatch if you have. Now, before I'll leave you to go put on Knives Out and make some popcorn or whatever, I'd like to add a completely subjective reason that I also absolutely adore this film. You see, I'm one of those SJW fake Star Wars stans, apparently, that actually manages to not only enjoy Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, but actively argues it is the best of the sequel trilogy, and possibly even more than that. So when people were all up in Rian Johnson's face on social media, bashing him for destroying Star Wars and whatnot, fun fact by the way, Jaden Martell's troll character was directly inspired by these delightful people, so in a weird way, thanks, I suppose. Anyways, the fact that Star Wars fans went so hard to criticize this man for not knowing what he's doing or how to make and tell a story, and for him to then deliver this movie whilst Disney put out the steaming pile of garbage that is Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is one of the greater pleasures I've experienced in a while. But that's all for me. If you liked the drawing, consider liking the video, and if you liked the video, consider subscribing. Till next time, take care.